All right, so today we're sharing a parent's journey, resiliency through tragedy. And our presenter for today is Stephanie Cooper. I met Stephanie through training, Parent Cafe Training Institute, and she is one of my favorite contributors to our cafe community practice because she has the most amazing themes ever. But let me tell you a little bit about her, okay? Stephanie Cooper is an Indiana native, currently resided in Frankfort, Indiana with her daughter Kayla and two
Kyla.
spoiled Kyla, I'm sorry, and two spoiled rotten dogs, Kinley and Gustifer. Right? Gustifer, okay. Stephanie is a cancer survivor who loves to spend time outside with her family, coach volleyball, go to the gym, and enjoy late nights on her back patio with friends and family. She is a she has a Bachelor's of Arts in Healthcare Management along with a Master of Arts in Organizational Leadership and Healthcare Management and is currently pursuing her PhD in Leadership and Health Science at the University of the Cumberlands. Stephanie is a teen pregnancy prevention and youth RISE programs coordinator at Healthy Communities, serving the at-risk youth and their families in her community. Stephanie is most proud of becoming a published author in 2020 and plans to expand on that accomplishment through public speaking and mentoring opportunities in her community. It is a pleasure for me to share Stephanie Cooper with you. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you, Sarita. Thank you for having me. I'm really, really excited about this. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining in. I want to start today just by kind of telling you who I am now. And then you'll get a really good backstory about me today. So today I am like this super confident person. And it feels really great to say that because I wasn't confident for the better part of my life. Um, Today I am probably the most self-motivated and determined almost to a fault because I look at a challenge and I'm like, hey, let's go. Like, let's do this. I'm excited. But I don't like obstacles. I know obstacles are going to happen, but I don't like to let them slow me down. I don't like to let them get in my way. I have set some pretty serious goals for myself and for my life. And it's taken a long time to get to where I am today. And it's definitely did not happen overnight. And the work that I have put into the last 10 plus years of my life are a daily struggle. So at 14, next slide, Andrew, please. That's me. Hey, that's me. You can skip that one because we already went over that. Okay, so at 14, I attempted suicide. I was obviously not successful, thank you, God. After years of struggling with depression, self-worth, I never felt enough at that point in my life. I had been through a few years of trauma, of family moving in and out, being pulled from school to school to school. My dad was in bad health. I was just ready to check out. I was done. I was tired. I couldn't imagine at that point in my life that my life could get any worse. Unsuccessful attempt. Again, thank God. I didn't realize that would be followed up by probably what was like the next worst year of my life. So next slide, Andrew, please. My mom at that point did what she thought was best for me and moved me away from pretty much everything. She packed up all of our stuff and moved us down to Southern Indiana on this whim idea that her and one of her sisters were going to start a bakery. We always had a love for baking and donuts. We love donuts. But my freshman year of high school, I was ready to return to my school, to do better, to be a happy person. I had this really sweet boyfriend that had kind of helped me get through that dark period of my life. And I thought things were better, but we moved away. So I started at a new school. I joined the cheer squad. I played volleyball. I played softball. Everything that I had planned to do at my old school, I went ahead and did. I knew I needed some normalcy back. I wasn't happy. My mom was super busy with this bakery. We were getting up at 3 a.m., her, myself, and my aunt, to go to the bakery and start the donuts for the day. And then we would have breakfast at the bakery, and I would walk across the street to school, go to school all day. I'd either have a practice, game, something. If there was a game and I had time to run over to the bakery to see my mom for a little bit, I did. But even though I was doing everything I would have been doing back home, I was not happy. I was so angry with my mom, and I made sure she knew every single day that she ruined my life. She ruined my life. Up until that point, I was just so mad at her for all of the moving around we had done, for all of the things that I felt were her fault in my life. I was angry. And I made sure that she was going to know that each and every day. So, long story short, we won't get into these details, but the bakery failed. And the sister that my mom had gone into business with did not handle that well. And for lack of time, we'll say we lost everything. We went from what we felt was on top of the world. You know, we had started this new life. I was in a new school. I was thriving. I was getting good grades. My mom was a business owner, and she was very proud of that. To being homeless. My aunt had kicked us out of her house, and we found ourselves living in the basement of one of the local churches. And a few of the families provided us meals until we could get up on our own feet. And it was literally by the grace of God that one of the gentlemen at the church had a rental property come open, and he said, I know you can't pay right now, but you need a place to call your own. And he moved us into that rental property. And we kind of, started from there. But things weren't great. I remember my mom struggling to make ends meet. I remember as a teenager wanting to do so much more, and we couldn't because we didn't have the money, and I was embarrassed. So I did this is probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. So at 15, I decided to get legally emancipated from my mom. Again, angry, bitter. I was so tired of being the victim of her decisions in our life. And so that sweet boyfriend, he was still hanging around despite being 3 hours away from him. He was coming down, and he was visiting every weekend. Sometimes in the middle of the week, he would drive down just to say hi because he knew I was having a bad week. And one of the weekends that he came to visit, we threw everything that we could of mine into the back of his truck, and I left. Fast forward, I got through high school, had a great high school career. I did not go without, and I'm very fortunate for that. Next slide, Andrew, please. Me and the sweet boyfriend got married when I turned 21. We had 4 years of trying to conceive our little itty bitty Miss Squishy. So that is Miss Kyla Jean, and she made her grand appearance in March of 2011. And this is where the hurt really started. I thought I had lived through the worst of what I was going to live through. Suicide attempts and leaving your friends and having surgeries and leaving your family at 15 years old. And then at 24, we realized Kyla would be our one and only child. I almost lost my own life trying to carry her, trying to conceive her. And long story short, I am allergic to pregnancy. So my dreams of having a big family were gone. And it was probably the most mind-numbing hurt I have ever experienced because I wanted a family so bad. That was my future. You get married, you have kids, and you have a family. And that was taken away from us within 6 months of having our daughter. Next slide. So that kind of brings us to the storm. The first, I would say big storm. And I'll be 100% honest, my marriage was terrible. It was terrible. Um, it wasn't good before we had Kyla. It certainly didn't get better once we had our daughter. If we could fight over it, we fought over it. Money, jealousy, accusations of infidelity, who was in control, what we were doing, when we were doing it. I wanted to paint the door one color. He was going to paint it another. That's just what it came down to for Kyla's dad and I. And so I'm sure you're wondering, why did you even have a kid? Why did you do that? Like, you weren't happy. You didn't have a good marriage. So despite the fact that we fought all the time about everything, I had been with this man since I was 12 years old. I was now 25. I had spent half of my life dedicated to this man. And I know, looking back, that wasn't the case for him. Hindsight's 2020, right? I can look back and say, hey, my marriage sucked. I should have never married that man, but thank you. Thank you. I'm glad I did, because I have the most wonderful child ever out of it. But neither one of us wanted to be alone. That's what it came down to. We were comfortable. We were comfortable being miserable because we didn't want to know what it was like or what it was going to be like away from each other. We would rather just butt heads every day and know that we didn't have to necessarily change. And we were okay with that. But I'd like to say I don't know what happened, but I know what happened. And what happened at that point in our marriage gave me the strength to walk away. So I walked away. Kyla was about 13, 14 months old. And I packed everything I could in my car. Sound familiar? And I left. And I went back home to my mama. And next slide, please. That first year absolutely sucked. Hindsight, it sucked. My mom and my daughter and I moved into this like less than pleasant 2-bedroom apartment in Louisville. She was living in Louisville at the time. And I had to share a room with my, 13, 14-month-old daughter. And it was not fun. It was not fun. I had to take the first job that I could find down there because just prior to conceiving or having Kyla, my ex-husband and I had financed a very expensive car because we wanted something safe for our daughter to be in. Well, I needed that car and I could not lose it. And after a couple months of not working because I wanted what I wanted, I took the first job that I could once I got up on my feet. And so I took a job at a daycare, at a kinder care in Louisville. And I was sick all the time. Like when I say sick, in and out of the hospital, strep throat, mono, you name it. These little kids in daycare, if you don't have children, those first 2 years of their life, they are like germ monsters. And working day in and day out with them, I became like this magnet of germs. And so I was always sick and it was awful. But we made it through it. We made it through it. And guess what? I got to see my daughter every single day. I got to spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day watching my daughter learn and grow and play. I got to put her down for naps sometimes, but I was wiping butts every day, sick as a dog, so that I didn't lose my car. I needed my car. And so with that sickness, that misery came a lot of defeat. I was feeling defeated. My marriage had ended. I was only 25 years old. I couldn't have more kids. I was wiping butts for a living. So I started drinking a lot. I started smoking weed a lot, taking pills. I'll be honest, there were days I don't even know what I was taking. Just the worst choices of my life came in that year. If I could smoke it, take it, drink it, I did. I gained a lot of weight. I lost a lot of self-confidence. And it wasn't until Kyla was with her dad one weekend, and my mom looks at me and she says, Steph, you never smile anymore. And I don't know what it was about that comment, but like it ticked me off. Like, don't you dare tell me I don't smile. And she's like, no, 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 you don't smile. Not even when you look at your daughter. Next slide, please. So I didn't smile. I went through a year of drinking and being destructive and not being a great parent. The only thing that made me smile was drugs and alcohol. Next slide. That was when I knew I had completely lost myself. I was living destructively to the point that it was affecting my daughter. It was affecting my family. Kyla was at two, and I was already failing her. I wasn't smiling at her. It's like a light switch. It was a light switch. I'm thankful that my mom called me out that day because I had to change. And when I kind of woke up from that year of destructive behavior and I was left to stare at the mess that I had made of our life, I was angry. I felt every emotion possible. Like I was so angry that I played the victim. I was so angry that I let my divorce affect me that way when I knew walking away was the best thing I could have done for my daughter and I didn't recognize who I was. I looked back at a picture of me throughout that year. There was a picture of me at work for my birthday, and I literally had to ask somebody, who's that fat girl in front? It was me. I didn't even know it was me. So I was sad. I was angry. I was jealous. I was embarrassed. I blamed Kyla's dad for everything for so long that I lost complete control over who I was. I didn't ask for my marriage to fail. I mean, who does? Nobody wants to get married and decide, 5 years later, oh, we're just going to make this a total loss, like just chalk it up. But that day was when I realized I wasn't letting my childhood and my marriage, my failed marriage define who I was going to be going forward. Next slide. So it took me the better part of 3 years to bounce back from that 1 year of destruction. 1 year of destructive behavior. I had to change everything I ate, everything I drank. I started taking my daughter everywhere with me and making sure that when I woke up in the morning, the first thing I did was smile at my daughter. I was very intentional. I had to smile at her, even if I didn't want to smile, even if I woke up in the worst mood, because, when you come down from a lifestyle of drugs and alcohol and eating whatever the heck you want, those withdrawals are rough. And we cold turkeyed it. And I say we because my mom played a huge part in helping me cold turkey those behaviors. And I wanted to make sure that when I woke up, my daughter knew I was happy to see her and that I was happy that we woke up together. So I started obstacle course racing. It seemed like one of those things that made no sense at the time. I was overweight. I was not happy with who I was. And I was like, hey, let's try this. I have some friends doing this. And my daughter was like my biggest fan. I have never, ever, ever pushed myself more than I did in these races. Physically, mentally, we were running in sub-zero degree temperatures with snow and ice, and we've run in rain, we've run in extreme temperatures, and we've run, distances anywhere from 3 miles to 17 miles in one day. And that the bottom right is my favorite. She's standing on the podium with me. And that was the day that I had earned my trifecta, which is a big deal for somebody like myself, because I am not the most endurance trained person. And I had successfully completed one of, the hardest race series that Spartan Race was offering. So that was awesome. And it was awesome to have my daughter there to do that. So go ahead and switch slides, please, Andrew. So I told you, I spend a lot of my time at the daycare. I spent years at the daycare. I went on to work for State Farm for a little bit. Every job I took, I wanted to make sure I was close to Kyla. So if Kyla needed me, if her school needed me, if her daycare needed me, I took jobs that I knew I had the flexibility to play chaperone, to play room mom. I was in it. Like I was not going to fail my daughter. So everything I did, how would it affect Kyla? How would it affect Kyla? So when I decided to go back to school, this was when I decided to go back to school to get my bachelor's degree. I knew I couldn't go in person because I needed to work. So I was working full time and raising my daughter. And her dad was helping out a little bit. We were seeing him more here and there. The divorce was obviously super ugly. And we went a long time without Kyla seeing her dad. And once he started coming around, it wasn't very consistent. So I wasn't ever sure when I was going to have help. So I did online schooling and I worked all day. We did dinner time. We did family time. I put my daughter to bed and I was spending most nights 4 to 6 hours after my daughter went to bed on schoolwork. I would sleep 3 to 4 hours a night and wake up and do it all over again. And I did that for the better part of 4 years. 4 years where my life was a complete blur. I don't remember most of that 4 years, unfortunately, because when I wasn't working and I wasn't doing schoolwork, I was trying to be a mom. And it was really hard. Like it was exhausting. Um, but I got my bachelor's degree and that was awesome. And that gave me the confidence to go on for my master's. I was like, look, I did it. I knocked out a bachelor's degree in 2.5 years. I can do this. I can do my master's. So my daughter was in school by this time. She was a kindergartner. She was doing great in school. I was working right down the road from her. Her dad was seeing her more. And so I was like, okay, now it's time for master's. We're going to do this. So jumped into that similar situation, was still doing the work, the school, the raising the babies. And then I realized, next slide, I was burning out. I was burning out. It just wasn't good. So I realized that I have a problem and I have a problem of accommodating people. I'm not a victim. I will say I felt privy to this because I'm not a victim. I put myself in this situation that I wasn't getting the help that I needed to raise our daughter because I wasn't asking for it. I wasn't demanding it. You can't help? Awesome. I'll do it myself. You can't help? Awesome. I'll do it myself. And I did that for the 4 years that I put myself through school. And then one day I made this really stupid decision to ask my ex-husband how I could make it easier for him to be a better parent. Because I didn't want to raise our daughter alone. I didn't have my dad in my life growing up most of the time, and I know that sucks. So I didn't want her not to have her dad. So please, Dad, how can I make your life easier to be a parent to our child? It was really stupid. I shouldn't have asked because I knew what was going to happen. What was going to happen is what had happened a few years prior to that when I uprooted my daughter, moved her back to Tipton, Indiana. 6 months later, no help. So we had to move back. Another stupid conversation. This is where her dad convinced me that he did want to be a father. And it almost makes me angry because I look back at it and all the right things were said. I want to see her more. I want to go to her events. I want to watch her play sports. I want to grow up, or I want to see her grow up. I want to have her throughout the week because you took my daughter 3 hours away. I can't see my daughter whenever I want to because you moved her. I did. I had moved her. But I moved her when I knew I needed to. So February of 2018-ish, I walked into a job that I loved. I had such a great job. I could work whenever I wanted to, come and go, be in my daughter's classroom, play room mom, chaperone field trips, My grandparents lived right down the road from me. My mom lived right down the road from me. And I told them I was leaving. I told them that I would not be coming back after Memorial Day. And I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what I was going to do. But that my plan was to leave Southern Indiana and move back up to Lafayette area because Kyla's dad wanted to be a father. So I did. I spent the next few months, it was about 3 months, traveling back and forth from Louisville, Kentucky to Lafayette, Indiana. I had to go, interview for jobs. I had to go find housing. And then we had to find a school for our daughter. And I did that until June. Next slide, please. In June of 2018, we finally moved up here, and I took a job with Metabolic Research Center. So I was doing health, wellness, and weight loss, and it was great because it afforded me the opportunity to live in a very comfortable new apartment complex that my daughter and I felt safe in, something that we were proud to call home. And it was great. I loved my job. I loved where we lived. We adopted a dog and we love him. Sir Gussifer is my newest dog. And I will tell you, he is so spoiled, rotten. I don't know what I'm going to do without him. Like, dogs should never die, just FYI. And then life was like super awesome. It was great. And then it wasn't. Like, it was great. And then it wasn't. It was like, aha, light switch. Hey, guess what? Stephanie, you're doing it all again. You moved your daughter closer because her dad wanted to be a dad, but her dad's not being a dad. Her dad's not here. You're working 55, 60 hours a week, and you're going to school still, and you're getting your daughter to and from school, and you're raising your baby, and you're getting no help. Like, what is going on? What did you do? I was seriously mad when I realized I did it again. Like, I let him convince me that if I made these changes, he was going to step up. And he did for a little bit. But I felt myself drowning. I was drowning in this new job, this new lifestyle. I left my mom and my family behind. So I had no help. And I was so frustrated. He lived 15 minutes away and was seeing her less than he had seen her when she lived 3 hours away. So again, I don't like to ask for help. For those of you that know me, I'm terrible at asking for help. I'm terrible at accepting help that is offered. But I went to Kyla's dad and his wife, and I said, look, I need help. Like, I am drowning. I cannot do this. Like, when I was working 40 hours a week, I could do this, but I'm not working 40 hours a week anymore. I'm working 50, 60. And even when I'm home, I'm not home. Like, I'm on call. I'm on my cell phone all the time. And our daughter is not getting the quality time with her parents that she needs. I can't be both parents. So it was in this conversation that it finally dawned on me that, again, I have a habit of accommodating people, that I have a little bit of pride in not asking for help. And in having that pride, I allow others to manipulate me into believing that, hey, you can do it all. Like, you're awesome. You are super mom. Like, you are great at this. Way to go. You have 2 college degrees. You've been working. You've been raising that baby girl. You got this. I didn't have it. And it made me so mad because he knew what he was doing. He knew it. He knows. And so I went from asking for help to demanding for help. Like, I was frustrated. I made a schedule. I took my work schedule. I took my daughter's school schedule, her extracurriculars, and I made a calendar and I handed it to him. And I said, here's what we're going to do, because I need a life. I am working. I am raising our child. I am going to school, and I need a life. I need some downtime, because even when I shower, I got no downtime because I've got a kid standing in the bathroom asking me when I'm going to be finished showering. So I got some help. I am serious. I am pleasantly surprised to tell you that worked. Demanding help worked. I stopped asking. And maybe this was a turnaround in my life, but I stopped asking for help from Kyla's dad. And I said, you are going to help me raise our daughter. You're going to help. And it worked really, really well. My job was a little bit more forgiving with my responsibilities, allowed me to kind of step back a little, allowed me, once I finished my master's degree, to really kind of focus on what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, because I knew I didn't want to be in sales the rest of my life. I didn't want to coach people on weight loss. It is a very, very fulfilling job. But when I say I lost so much sanity and energy in the industry that I was in, it was not a good fit. So I decided, next slide, please. I was going to leave that job. I needed to leave that job because it wasn't working out for me. I was finally getting help with Kyla. I could take a break. So we had purchased our house, our new home. That was like the best thing in the world, but it's really old, and it needed a lot of work. And so I decided to switch careers. And in the same time, I decided, hey, I'm going to have free time. What am I going to do with all this free time? Like, wow, this is cool. I went back to school again, like, because that's what I do. I don't, my personal life, that free time I wanted, I realized I really enjoy learning. So I went back to school and I applied to the PhD program at University of the Cumberlands. And while I was waiting to be accepted there and to start, that's what led me to Healthy Communities, where I work now. So this has been great. I have so much flexibility and freedom, and I love where I work, and I love the people I work with. And I get to take my daughter to work with me sometimes, and we do all these fun events in the community. And I'm just really proud of what I do. And it's such a great place to work when you have a child that, my daughter is almost 11 now, and she can learn from what I'm doing just by being in the room. And I'm not at home on my phone all the time. I'm not taking, emergency calls and putting out fires. And it's been so awesome. But guess what happened? I stopped getting help again. I had free time. I had all this free time, and I was saying, hey, it's okay. I got it. Like, I'm not working 60 hours now. So you don't want to get her today? I'll get her. Let me get her. Oh, you're too busy tonight? You're going to dinner with your friends? Okay, it's fine. Let her stay home. I'll take her to the event with me. Like, she can just come to work with me. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine, right? It's fine. It wasn't fine. It's not fine. I had to stop accommodating him. Like, seriously, it was a problem. It's still a little bit of a problem, but it was a big problem. I couldn't let it go. Like, once I realized my daughter was coming to work with me more than she was spending with her dad, and he was 15 minutes away, I was like, all right, we're going to fix this. We're not going to ask for help. We're going to demand it. So guess what? New plan. I didn't have squat to do. Like, I hadn't started school yet. I was just, spending time by myself. I have this back patio at my house that sometimes I just like to go home and sit on my back patio. Like, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. This is me time. And sometimes I like that. So I'm like, hey, you're picking Kyla up this day, and this day, because I'm just going to go home and relax, because I don't know what relaxing is like, because for 10 years, I haven't relaxed.
Stephanie, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
No, I'm enjoying your journey. I was just wondering, I was thinking, is that something that you still struggle with, or is that something that you've overcome, like setting that boundary up for her dad, so
Oh,
that,
there's boundaries now. Yes, there are boundaries now. I am much better now than I was 2 years ago. Yeah.
I'm also curious. You said something about you had you filed for separation from your parents, or
I
legal.
did.
I'm just curious, where did you learn how to do that?
I Googled
Like,
it.
what? Wow, I'm like, wait a minute. That made me think, like, how old am
I
I? You were able
I
to
don't
Google that.
even I
Okay.
don't even know. I don't know how I got to that. At 15 years old, I just decided that that was not the life I wanted. And I was so tired of being drugged through my mom's drama and my
Hmm.
mom's hurt and her pain and being a victim of her pain that I was like, no, how can I remove myself from this?
Wow.
And I Googled, like, can I leave my, like, can I divorce my parents? Because that's what I need. And essentially, you can.
Wow. Wow. That's deep. I was like, how does she know how to find that? And I maybe
Google.
I'm thinking of my 14, 15-year-old self back in the 80s when we didn't have Google. All right, I'm dating
Yeah,
myself. Go ahead, Stephanie.
you're fine.
Please
You're
continue.
fine. Yeah, absolutely. So I demanded help. I set a new plan and I said, all right, starting next week, here's what we're doing. You're back to slacking off and I need you to step up. And so does your daughter, because now she's like 10, 9 or 10, and she's into stuff and I need help. And like, again, I don't have to explain myself to you. Like, I don't
Hmm.
have to explain myself. I need help. I deserve help. Our daughter deserves help.
Hmm.
So that next week we were due to start this new plan of him getting her throughout the week and on his
Hmm.
weekends. And we had to miss the first couple days that we had planned. He had some last minute doctor's appointments come up and, no big, like she was going to see him anyway. Um,
Hmm.
I'm not going to get bent out of shape out of 1 or 2 days that he just couldn't get her. And, but what happened, it wasn't a problem. What happened was for the next 4 to 6 weeks, we had plans for him to help out more. And unfortunately, he was in and out of the doctor a lot. He felt like garbage. He was in and out of the hospital. He was having tests ran, blood drawn. These doctors could not figure out what was wrong with him and why he felt so terrible.
Hmm.
So one weekend when Kyla was with her dad, I remember getting a call Sunday morning before she was due to come home. And her stepmom said, hey, Steph, I walked Kyla over to her grandparents. His parents live next door. I'm on my way to the ER with Ryan, with Kyla's dad. And I said, okay, like, what's wrong? Like, what happened? Like, did he get hurt? Because if you know my ex-husband, he's a little bit of a daredevil. Um, he had 104 fever all night. He couldn't drop it. He was in serious pain, like thought he was dying pain. Um, they did an x-ray of like his lower half because he had all this abdominal pain and they couldn't figure out why. And this is where they discovered that his liver, instead of being like smooth and round, essentially looked like just little bubbles, like little bubbles. It was not the way it was supposed to be. It was very alarming. So they took him back for an emergency biopsy of his liver. Um, they said, don't freak out. Don't freak out. Like, this could be anything. This just could be poor imaging. He could have some fluid. Like, it's fine. Like, we'll get the test results next week and you guys will be fine. Like, it's fine. They called us 2 days later and told us that Kyla's dad had cancer. So
What kind of cancer?
he has colon and liver cancer. So we, sparing the detailed timeline, like I know, I hope you've never had to go through this process, but this was when we started testing new doctors, more doctors, more doctors, more testing, more pokes, more prods. We were told at that point, her dad was 35 years old, that he had stage 4 colon cancer that had metastasized to his liver. His liver was 95% covered by cancer, but still fully functional. So we were blessed that his liver was still functioning. And he had some nodules in his lungs that were of concern too. So what the heck do you even do in this situation?
Right.
You can't be mad at a man that's like literally been dying. He's been dying. He
Wow.
missed so much time with his daughter in that last 4 to 6 weeks because he has cancer. Like, I literally had to sit down and tell myself, like, Steph, you can't be mad about this. You can't be hurt by this. We're going to figure this out. Like, you don't have to accommodate everything, but you're going to have to be a little bit more flexible on this plan. So that's what we did. Everything became tentative. I hate the word tentative, but everything in our life became tentative at that point. Kyla would tentatively see her dad on Wednesday afternoon. She would tentatively be at her dad's next weekend. It really just depended on how he felt, when he was starting treatment, what treatment did to him. And again, I hope nobody ever has to hear those words and has to navigate this, that you have stage 4 cancer, or that somebody you love has stage 4 cancer, because I'm a realist. I'm a positive realist. I am positive that we can fight this battle. We can fight these battles, but I also understand that war, when you're talking stage 4 uncurable cancer, that war cannot be won. I believe in the go ahead.
I was gonna ask, is this hashtag Coop Strong? Because we're friends on Facebook. So
Yeah.
I remember when I see that, I'm always like, oh, Coop Strong.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that.
If Andrew wants to share those slides, he can. Yeah. Our family, once we got this diagnosis, we became COOPSTRONG. That is the initiative for Kyla's dad. Pretty much everything we do, we stay COOPSTRONG. We had family photos taken to make sure that we had photos of her dad before his physical appearance changed, from chemo, from treatment, from the weight loss. He had lost a good 60 plus pounds in those couple months. So we started having events and fundraisers and just making sure what time we did have with him, we made sure they were making positive memories. Everything in my life, when I tell you everything in my life became tentative, I remember walking into work and just saying, look, I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. I plan to be here, but just understand that if something happens to my ex-husband, I'm gone. Like I have to be there. And I've been very blessed that my work understands that. My friends understand that. My family understands. We missed some family gatherings last year, because I wanted to make sure that if these were the last gatherings my daughter had with her dad, she was going to be there for them. So it has been a year and 4 months. We're going on about 18 months of Ryan's cancer journey. He is still receiving treatment. We have had to change treatments a handful of times. We've had a lot of setbacks. We've had some victories, but we've had a lot of bad days. We've had a lot of good days. And what has happened over the last year and 4 months is I told myself, look, you can't be mad at this man because he's battling, he's fighting for his life. But when I tell you, this is going to come off awful, I have been so angry with that man these last 6 months, because once he started feeling better and we started seeing progress in his cancer shrinking, there's about 7 new states he has visited more than once in the last year and a half. He has traveled so much. And again, like, I get it. This is his bucket list. This is him traveling. And when he feels good, he wants to go see the sights. He wants to go live his life. Like, I understand that. But we have a almost 11-year-old daughter who has not been invited on any of those trips. We have an 11-year-old daughter that when her dad's having bad days and she can't go see him, she understands. But then she also understands that when dad's feeling well, she's not the first call. His friends are the first call. He's out at basketball games. He's in Las Vegas. He's in Los Angeles. He's in Texas. He'll be in Utah the next 3 weeks. You know, there's a lot going on that I have to tell myself as a parent, it's okay to be mad. Like, it's okay to be mad. Like, I am angry that the better he feels, the worse my daughter gets treated in regards to getting that quality time with her dad. Like, that makes me angry. And so then, you know, part of me, I told you, this is still a constant battle for me, that I want to accommodate that. We're like, oh, hey, great. Like, why don't you take our daughter on spring break? Like, you're going to be in Utah for 3 weeks. Take her with you, please. It's not going to happen. And so I've been mad. And so I just decided that in 2022, I wasn't going to let tentative be a word of my life. If we wanted to travel, my daughter and I were going to travel. If we wanted to sign up for the volleyball league, we were going to sign up for the volleyball league. And this kind of goes with, I decided after my divorce, after I had that year of reckless behavior, that I was going to sit at the table. I was going to make my own success, that nobody else was going to do it for me. Nobody else is going to help raise my daughter. I get it. That's on me. I'm her mom. Like, I'm okay with that. Again, I don't want to ask for help. I want to be like Superwoman mom and be like, I got this, but sometimes I don't. And we have to face the reality that he's not going to be here long term. And that's an adjustment that we have to make. And so rather than live in fear of losing her father day in and day out, and not knowing when he will be in town or when he will feel well enough to spend time with our daughter, I've just kept her busy. I've kept her busy. We've traveled, we've gone on little trips. We're getting ready to go to the beach here soon. I've done what I can do as a mom, and what I can do now is just decide that her and I are going to be happy.
Mhm.
It sucks. Like, it sucks. The bad news comes in waves that hurt so bad. But then I remember, you know what? Like, we knew this was a war. We knew that this was a war that he's not going to win. And every time we get the bad news from those little battles, it's really easy to want to fall victim. It's really easy to get angry, and it's really easy to just want to give up and say, look, to heck with my life. I'm just going to throw my daughter at him and make him be a parent, even if he doesn't want to, because, in my mind, I want you to have that time with our daughter. I want you to have every single minute with our daughter. But we don't think the same. We haven't thought the same for 20 years. We didn't think the same when we were married. And I have to remind myself that that's why we're not married. That's why he is my ex-husband. We have co-parented beautifully. We get compliments on it. People come to us and ask us for help. Like, how do you co-parent so well? Like, we go places together. Like, when I tell you we have keys to each other's houses, we dog sit each other's dogs, telling each other we love each other, like that. This is not uncommon. I love my ex-husband, as the father of my child. But beyond that, like, we have to draw those lines. I have to draw those lines, and I have to accept that he is a very selfish person. That just is what it is. He has been a selfish person since we were 12 years old. And I have to stop trying to change him. And I have to focus on what I can do, which is I can be an awesome mom. I can work, and I can go to school, and I can be successful. I can make my own success. I can raise our little warrior. My daughter is a warrior, guys. Like, I love this girl. Like, you talk about some resiliency, like, she's going to be your next speaker, Sarita, because she is awesome and I love her. We're going to sit at the table. We're going to go on vacation. We're going to do what we want to do, because selfishness ends with the people that choose to be selfish. Just because you're selfish doesn't mean like I have to accommodate you. And we're done accommodating the world. We're just going to go have fun, and we're going to be nice people, and we're going to be good people. And we're not going to live with what ifs and regrets. We're just not going to do it. So that is my story. Thank you, Andrew, for like zooming through those slides.
I love it. Stephanie, thank you so much. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing your story with us. I got some good like nuggets from there, and I was thinking about One of the things that caught me was when you said you guys stayed together and because you were comfortable being miserable.
We
I
were
was like,
comfortable.
wow, that's deep. Comfortable being miserable.
Yeah. And so,
That
and
is
that's
deep.
like my biggest fear. People
Hmm.
ask me, what is your biggest fear? I'm like, I do not want to be miserable.
Yeah, yeah,
I spent
yeah,
so many years being
yeah,
comfortable with misery that
yeah.
misery scares the crap out of me now.
Same. I remember thinking, because my husband and I have been married 30 years, and I remember saying I did not want to be like couples that I had met who were like married for 50, 60 years, but you could tell they couldn't stand each other. And I was like, oh, they're comfortable being miserable. So that was like an aha moment for me. Like, wow, wow, okay, now I get
Yeah.
it. Now I get that. So I just want to say thank you again for sharing your story.
Thank
It took a lot, I'm sure, to share and to be so transparent. And I know you were worried, but I think you did a fantastic job. And I'm just so
thank
grateful that you chose to
you.
share your story with us. And I know and I'm sure that your story has encouraged someone else, inspired someone else. So they'll know that they can say no, they can demand help, and to set boundaries, so they don't have to do it all. So
You
I
don't have to do
appreciate
it
you sharing
all.
your story. It's that's one of the I won't say founding principles, but in cafes, right? You talk about how valuable your story is and being okay to share it because your story gives someone else permission to also share. So thank you for giving people permission today,
Yeah.
Stephanie.
Thank you.
We can go to You're welcome. Go to the next slide. Here's Stephanie's contact information. I know that Andrew also put it in the chat. I don't know if he's gonna put the slide back up. We lost Andrew, guys. I was holding it
We
down because we
lost
lost
him.
Andrew. He jumped off. He got kicked out, and I had to hold it down. All right, so there's Stephanie's info. If you want to take a screenshot of that, or you can grab it out of the chat. And then people are saying thank you.
Thank
Stephanie,
you.
people are saying you're amazing. You're a great mom. You're,
Oh,
very inspiring. Both, what beast mode? Yes.
beast mode, yes.
They're saying they
Please.
love you. And
Oh,
then, next slide, Andrew. I'm thinking about today's conversation, today's A Parent's Journey shared by our wonderful guest, Stephanie. What will you amplify today? Amplify demanding help. That's going to be mine. Go ahead and put your hashtag in the chat. What will you amplify today? Hashtag amplified chat. Hashtag amplified. Give me one, Stephanie. Amplified resiliency. Give me one. Hashtag what?
sit at the table.
Hashtag sit at the table. Boom.
Sit at
What
that
would-
table. Make your
Yes.
place.
Yes. Don't be comfortable in being miserable. Yes. Drop them
Yes.
in there,
Oh, I
guys.
like
Thank
that
you
one.
so much. I like that one too. I like all of them.
Maybe
Thanks,
that's the title to
everybody.
my next book, Sarita.
Hello. Hello. There
Hello.
you go. All right. What's the next slide, Andrew?
I'm not
Don't
a
forget
reader.
to join us this Friday. It's a Taste of Dad's Parent Cafe. Every shot counts. Whoosh. So if you're a dad or you know some dads who can really benefit from attending Friday's Cafe, they don't want to miss it. It's being hosted by our dads of Be Strong Families. So please, spread the word. Yes, it's really it's for dads. Okay, all right, all right. Those of you guys who like to go to dad's events, hoping to get lucky, it's dad's event. Okay, all right. Okay, what's next, Andrew? And then I think the next one. So, don't forget to join us for Monday. These are upcoming webinars. We get the Spanish on Tuesday and Thursday. Monday, we're going to kick off celebrating Women's History Month, connecting their paths to our futures with Robin and Jennifer. And then we're going to do Wednesday. We have Justice for All, a family community driven movement to promote justice and unity. This is being presented by Cherie Kraft of Smart Start, a boss female boss. So Women's Month is kicking off with the blast, and of course we have the wonderful Stephanie who is kicking us off today. So thank you guys, and then don't forget to follow us on YouTube. Go follow us on YouTube, subscribe, share it, all that great stuff. If you're looking for any past webinars, they are on the YouTube channel. All right, have at it. Don't miss out. Don't ever feel like you've missed out because you missed the live. You can join us on YouTube. And we also put it on, do we also put it on Facebook? We'll share the YouTube link to Facebook as well. All right. So thanks, guys. Thanks for spending your lunchtime with us. Thanks again to Stephanie. And we look forward to seeing you next week, guys.